Welcome to lecture number 10, and we are discussing about the backgrounds necessary to carry out experiment number 2. And you see that last time in lecture 9 we discussed this problem, that is this problem where there was a charge capacitor connected across an inductor, so there was no forcing function in the circuit, and the solution of voltage and current of this circuit, voltage across the capacitor plate at any time t and current it we found out, and we found that this way there will be sustained oscillations, no decay in oscillations, because and you started this whole business with some initial energy stored in the capacitor. That was the that was driving actually the current and transferring energy sometimes from capacitor to inductor, inductor to capacitor, and these oscillations went on. I will ask you this problem, I will not solve, but I will ask you solve this problem on your own. Solve this problem. The difference in this problem is, okay, there is a switch S, this is closed at t equal to 0. Both capacitor and inductor were initially uncharged, and you have to find out IT and VT for t greater than equal to 0. What is t equal to 0? When S is closed and circuit is made. Okay. Only thing you can see that in this circuit, therefore, we once again write, I will give you some hints. You write these equations, and as usual, this time of course right hand side there is a constant voltage, then divide by LC as usual, and this will be the second order differential equation, is not? Now we once again ask ourselves, just quickly I am telling that, okay, natural response, to find out natural response, that is right hand side equal to 0. So these three terms added up must give you 0 for all time t, and the solution of natural response. This is although I am not natural response. So only option left to guess for V is some a into e to the power mt. It has to be, because exponential terms you differentiate, integrate, it retains its form, same form. And that's why perhaps these three functions when added up can give rise to 0 for all time t. That is the important point. Therefore, if you assume this, then dv dt will be this, d2 vdt will be this, and natural response right hand side 0, so this must satisfy this equation. And once again you see this cannot be 0. If it is 0, then there is no natural response. Therefore, this fellow must be 0, and this is the characteristic equation. Now, this characteristic equation becomes a quadratic equation for a second order differential equation, and the roots of this equation can be found out from this algebraic equation M1 and M2. Now, there may be several situations. For example, M1 may be distinct roots, that is, they are not equal, they are not equal, or they may be equal. Okay. If these roots are equal, M1 equal to M2, then the solution will be A1 e to the power mt plus A2 into t into e to the power mt. Okay? So if the roots are equal, it will come like this. I have uploaded a note on the solution of differential equation where why it looks like this can be You can go through that if you like. It is better you go through it. Or maybe in your school days knowledge also you might be knowing. Second order differential equation, if the roots are repeated, this will be the solution. So natural response will be like this. Okay. Now if this is the natural response of this circuit, then we will expect that this circuit, once again the same slide, we have to find out the roots, is not to decide about that. Now this is the differential equation, original differential equation, this one, last slide we have seen. Now what I will be doing here is that I will first make a comment. One comment is, what is the solution due to the forcing function? For forcing function solution, we know it is the linear combination of the forcing function and its higher order derivatives. But since the right hand side is constant, higher order derivative terms goes, and forcing function alone satisfies this differential equation. Therefore, the solution due to forcing function will be simply you suppress these two terms you suppress, and whatever is the value of V, that is E by LC by 1 by LC, that will be equal to E by LC by 1 by LC, that will be equal to E. So solution due to forcing function, if right hand side is constant, it is constant because you are connecting a constant EMF battery, so solution due to forcing function is already known, E. You don't have to spend much time on that. With your physical arguments you can see. So total solution then will be this E plus the solution due to the forcing natural response, that is A1 into M1t plus A2 into e to the power M2t, if M1 not equal to M2. Or it could be, or this is also could be equal to E plus A1 plus A2 into t into e to the power mt, if the roots are repeated, that is M1 equal to M2 is equal to M. Depending upon the situation, we will do that. Okay, so this you have understood. Now, so this is the equation, and I already know what is the solution due to forcing function. Now I have to, what I have to do? I have to find out the roots of the equation. But before we do that, I will do some transformation to this equation for reasons which will be clear at the later part of the solutions. See, this R by L is coefficient of DVdt and 1 by LC is another coefficient of V. These two are constant numbers, and these two are really the coefficient of this and this. And two coefficients are there, therefore I will just tacitly assume that I will translate these coefficients in terms of some two other unknown quantities. One is R by L, let us call it is equal to, okay, first 1 by LC. 1 by LC, we have seen from the previous problem, when a capacitor is connected across an inductor, 1 by LC is natural frequency of oscillations, omega n square. Omega n is 1 over root over LC. Therefore, we write it, we replace this 1 by LC by some omega n square number. We still do not know whether it will become the frequency of oscillations in this case as well. But let us call this to be omega n square. Okay, 1 by LC. So if that is the case, then this right hand side will become En square by into E, isn't it? 1 by LC. And the other constant, other coefficient, this coefficient is 1, I have translated this. This coefficient 2, I will call it 2 zeta omega n. Okay, so another two new variables comes in instead of these two constant variables. Suppose this is A, this is B, then okay, replace it by 2 some other. That I am allowed to do. I'm not doing anything, wrong here. So I am translating these two coefficients in terms of another two unknown variables. One is omega n is equal to 1 by root over LC, another is R by L is equal to 2 zeta omega n. Then this equation will look like this, is not? This equation will look like this. Acha, if this equation looks like this, then this is in this slide we then say that okay, you see this, as I told you, is nothing but omega n square into E. Now solution due to forcing function is omega n square E divided by omega n square. That is known. So we don't have to fight for the solution due to forcing function. It is already known to me. Only thing, the solution due to natural response depends on the roots. So I write down the characteristic equation and equate it to 0 because natural response I want to find out. Mind you, characteristic equations are written to find out the natural response. You know by this time. Now there may be several situations. One situation is roots may be complex or roots may be real and distinct, M1, M2. If roots are complex, if one root is A plus JB, you can easily see that other root has to be its complex conjugate. The other root will be A minus JB. M1 not equal to MT. Definitely these two are not equal. And this M1, M2, if roots are real and distinct, they are also not equal. In fact, these two cases are no different, distinct roots. Complex, okay, but I will treat it in the same way. A1 e to the power M1t plus A2 e to the power M2t will be the solution. And the third case could be roots may be real and equal. Because under complex condition, roots cannot be equal. They are complex conjugate, isn't it? So, this thing I have to find out the roots now. So you just manipulate this equation, make it a perfect square by adding zeta square omega n square and subtracting the same term. So m plus zeta omega n whole square, you translate it to this side and you get this equation. M plus zeta omega n. Or I will then write that I have to write and spoke. Actually, what happened, I yesterday recorded this same lecture, but somehow sound was not recorded. So I am using those slides here. So after you get that, what you can do is so we have got, then the roots will be M12 can be written as minus zeta omega n plus minus square root of minus 1 minus zeta square into omega n square. This will be the root. You can easily see that one. Okay, so this zeta I have, we already know what zeta is. Zeta was how much? We have defined such that, remember, 2 zeta omega n is equal to r by L, and omega n square is equal to 1 by LC. So zeta and omega n depends upon the circuit parameter values, and depending upon these values, the value of zeta will change. It may be greater than 1, it may be 0, zeta may be 0. If r is 0, zeta will be obviously 0. There will be omega n, is not? So it depends on the value of r. If you keep LC fixed, okay, for a given r, zeta you can, zeta is r by 2, zeta may be 0 if r is 0. Okay, so we will take up first this case, the so-called difficult case, in mathematical terms. Say, let case 1. Let zeta is greater than 0 but less than 1. Okay, in this zone zeta exists. If then 1 minus zeta square will be greater than 0. Obviously, it is a number less than 1, so it will be always positive number. Therefore, these two roots, m1 and 2, will look like minus zeta omega n, and this being a positive number, this is positive for this case, and root over minus 1 is j, and this will be 1 minus zeta square into omega n. This omega n can be taken outside. So it is under this condition, roots will be complex conjugate. Clear? Mind you, I am restricting my attention to this condition only. Your parameter values are such that zeta lies between 0 to 1. Okay? So this is the thing. Now, this quantity, what I will be doing is, I will be writing this one plus minus j. This quantity, it is a positive number, I will write it to be omega d. Omega d, I will be calling it a damped natural frequency. Damped frequency of oscillation. Whatever it is, frequency of oscillation. So this will be a real part and plus minus omega t. And you can see that is omega d I have written to be, omega d is root over 1 minus zeta square into omega n, and omega, this is the thing. Okay, now one thing you note here, zeta square omega n square plus omega d square, if you sum these two, this square plus this square, if you sum this up, it will become omega n square. Clear? because omega d square, zeta square omega n square will cancel out. So this is the situation. If that is the case, then you see it can be these three sides of a rectangle can be used to remember this thing. This is the thing. And you define this angle to be theta, and tan theta, this acute angle, will be equal to omega d by zeta omega n. To simplify maths this way, you can remember. So these are the two roots. Clear? Then what you do is this, then we say that natural response or total response, I will write in a fresh page. So after I get this, I will say simply that the total solution for capacitor voltage Vt will therefore be equal to A1 into e to the power of m1t, and m1 is minus zeta omega n plus of j omega d and whole into t, and plus of a2 into m2t. m2 is same, minus zeta omega n, but minus complex conjugate of this root into t. So this will be the solution due to natural response, and solution due to forcing function is known already, we have told you. So this is the thing. Okay. So after you get this, I will now apply two boundary conditions to get two equations involving A1 and A2, and then find out the values of A1, A2. Some algebra is there. At least let me show you the states. So V0 minus was 0, and this will be equal to V0 plus, which is same as V0 itself, because there is no impulse involved here. So and V0 is 0, therefore I will say that A1 plus of A2 plus of E, put t equal to 0 on the right hand side, that is equal to 0, or A1 plus A2 will be equal to minus E. This is equation 1. Very simple equation. Second equation is I0 minus is equal to I0 plus is equal to I0 itself is equal to 0. So, but what is I0? I recall IT is nothing but C dV dt. Once you know Vt, you know I. Simply differentiate this. So differentiate this with respect to time and put t equal to 0. So it will then become equal to A1. This condition gives you A1, and this will come as coefficient now, a zeta omega n plus j omega d into e to the power this thing, once again e to the, but t equal to 0, so that thing does not come, and C dV dt. C is the capacitance. This will give you the first term. Second term similarly will give you plus of A2 into minus zeta omega n minus j omega d into e to the power minus zeta omega n minus j omega t into t, but you are going to substitute t equal to 0, so that will turn out to be 1, and of course c will be there. And differentiation of this constant term is 0, so plus 0, and this is equal to 0. Therefore, you get that minus zeta omega n plus j omega d into a1 plus of minus zeta omega n minus j omega d into a2 is equal to 0. And this is the second equation, mind you. Clear? So A1 and A2 can be solved from these two. And the solution, that algebra I will not do. If I have got the result, I will straight away substitute the result. It is like this: solving 1 and 2. Okay. There are other pages coming. Other pages. Okay, let us use this page. So, solving, what you will get is this. A1 you will get, hopefully it is correct, you can cross check it by doing algebra, by method of elimination or whatever it is. It will come out to be j into zeta omega n plus j omega d divided by 2 omega d and into E, where is E is the battery voltage. That's how it will come out to be. Okay, and A2 will come out to be minus j zeta omega n minus j omega d divided by 2 omega d into E. That is how hopefully I have solved it correctly, but nonetheless you check those two algebraic equations, two unknowns, solve them, and you can express it in this fashion. Now, one thing you note here that is interesting to note, that I will rather point out, that you see it is after all a complex number. Suppose this is another complex number. Now you just calculate what is conjugate of A2. Let me calculate that. Conjugate of A2 will be, wherever j is there, reverse their sign. So it will be j zeta omega n. This minus j omega d will become plus j omega d, and divided by 2 omega d. So conjugate of A2 is this, and which is nothing but A1. That is what I want to tell. This point should be remembered. That it is interesting to note that in a second order system, if the roots are complex, then the constants A1 and A2 associated with e to the power m on t and e to the power m to t respectively, they are nothing but complex conjugate with each other. That is a very nice observation. Got the point? Acha. Now, after knowing this, so A1 is this. Now I come here. Okay, it is a complex number having some real and imaginary part. And any complex number can be represented also in polar form, r e to the power j theta. That is the magnitude. This could be expressed as r into e to the power some j, say alpha. It can be expressed in that form. Then I will say that A2 will be nothing but e to the power minus j alpha. Got the point? After I noted that point, that the other constant A2, its conjugate is nothing but A1, and A1 is a complex number, which here it is represented in terms of rectangular form. So, okay, if I wish, I will be able to compute it with this. And if this is A1, then A2 will be also complex conjugate of this one. So that is the thing. Now the question is, what is R and what is alpha? Okay. The value of R is the magnitude of this or this, same R. So anyway, from the first equation, the magnitude of this polar form, magnitude of j is 1, and magnitude of this quantity numerator is zeta square omega n square plus omega d square, and the magnitude of 2 omega d is 2 omega d and into e. That's all. This will be the magnitude. It has got no complex conjugate. And we have, and always remember this triangle, that is say zeta omega n omega d, and this is theta, and tan theta is omega d by zeta omega n. This is the acute angle, because omega d, zeta omega n are all real numbers. Therefore, if you recall that theta, this is the value of theta. Now, R I have found out. Okay, what is alpha? Alpha will be this angle, which is 90 degree, isn't it? Pi by 2. What is this angle? It is plus tan inverse omega d by zeta omega n. This is the value of alpha, isn't it? So this will become then equal to pi by 2 plus theta, where theta is tan inverse omega d by zeta omega n. So I know the magnitude of A1 and its angle alpha, which is denoted by this, and this is the magnitude R and theta I have found out. Okay, so R and alpha unknown. Okay, now okay, after you have got this, then I will say that my solution for Vt, I am now going to write Vt is equal to, I know A1, let me write that previous thing, my e to the power minus zeta omega n plus j omega d into t plus of a to e to the power of minus zeta omega n plus j omega d into t, and this will be minus complex conjugate, roots are, and plus e, is it? This was the thing. Now I have assumed a1, I have got r into e to the power what, j alpha, did I write? R e to the power j alpha, and a2 is complex conjugate of a1, that is equal to r e to the power minus j alpha. And what is the value of r? Value of r is this. And what is the value of alpha? It is equal to pi by 2 plus theta, where theta is tan inverse omega d by zeta omega n. So r and theta are known. So I can put these numbers there. So Vt will then become, let me write it on this side. So one line I will write, r e to the power j alpha into e to the power, mind you, no time is there, it is just a complex number, and then minus zeta omega n plus of j omega d into t, this is the thing, plus a2 is r into e to the power minus j alpha into e to the power minus zeta omega n minus j omega d into t and plus of e. That is the total solution. Okay. Now what I will be going to do is this. From this you see r into e to the power minus zeta omega n t can be taken common. This term, e to the power minus zeta omega n into t. Open the bracket, bring this out. And here you will be left with the e raised to the power j terms, which will be equal to j into what? Omega j into omega dt plus alpha. Alpha has got no time, and this is plus e to the power minus j alpha I have taken out, and you will be left with here omega dt plus once again alpha, that minus, this is also minus j omega dt, e to the power minus j alpha, e to the power minus j alpha. So j can be taken common. So this will be the thing. Now this, if you add, it will become simply twice cosine omega dt plus alpha. Imaginary part cancels out. Therefore, this will be 2r e to the power minus zeta omega n into t into cosine of omega dt plus of alpha. That will become equal to Vt. Now, we should not forget what is R. R is depends on circuit parameters, and the value of R, let me write here, that is equal to 2. After putting the value of R, it will be zeta square omega n square plus omega d square you know, divided by 2 omega d. That is the value of r. Isn't it? This is the value of r into e, into e, and e to the power minus zeta omega nt plus of cosine omega dt plus alpha. Alpha is pi by 2 plus theta. So theta plus pi by 2. Theta is the acute angle, which is tan inverse omega d by zeta omega n. This will be the thing. Now here once again zeta square, and I am drawing many a times to tell to you, to convey to you, it is so important to remember these relationships. That is zeta omega n, this is 90 degree, this is omega t, this is omega n. So this one will turn out to be omega n. So this will then become equal to omega n by omega d into e to the power minus zeta omega n t plus, not plus, into cosine omega dt plus theta plus pi by 2. And of course, since I am writing the total solution, this is the solution due to natural response, I should go on adding e, solution due to forcing function. And finally, you will get Vt. Finally, I will get Vt as total solution as omega n by omega d is what? Because omega d is root over 1 minus zeta square into omega n. So omega d, omega n by omega d is nothing but e is there by root over 1 minus zeta square into e to the power minus zeta omega n t into cosine 90 plus theta is minus sine theta, is it? Cosine 90 plus theta, cosine 90 plus theta. It should be negative. So cosine 90 plus theta is minus sine theta. So this can be written as minus sine of omega dt plus theta and plus e. This is the solution. So if I write it more this way, formal way, so e minus root over 1 minus zeta square e to the power minus zeta omega nt into sine omega dt plus theta Vt. And in this is the final solution. This is the final solution. Is that clear? Is this solution correct? At least I should expect V0, let us calculate. V0 is E, put t equal to 0, E minus E by root over 1 minus zeta square. It is sine theta recall the same triangle, good old triangle will help us a lot. This is the theta. So omega d by zeta omega n. So sine theta will be omega d by zeta omega n. You know? Sine theta is equal to omega d by omega n. Sorry, sine theta is omega d by omega n. So omega d by omega n, and omega n into root over 1 by zeta square is your omega d. So they will cancel out and it will give you 0. You can also verify C dv dt, put t equal to 0, it is 0, then you will be 100% sure that is this expression is correct. So this is how the expression comes, and we will continue our discussion next time because it has become too lengthy a discussion. In the next lecture, I hope I will conclude this lecture business and give you problems in relation with experiment 2 which you have to submit. Remember that after I upload the problems, you will get a minimum of 15 days. I will specify the number of days you will get for experiment 2 to submit your answers to the problems which I will pose before you. So this is the thing. And also note that why that 2 zeta omega n and those things, that way it was written. Okay, omega d is obviously this is a sine function which will vary with sinusoidally with some phase displacement, that we know that, but whatever it is, the frequency of oscillations of this term frequency is omega d. So that is why it was defined like that. Similarly, zeta we defined and minus zeta omega n t comes. So it becomes handy. Otherwise, what you could leave without substituting r by L to be 2 zeta omega n or 1 by LC to be not equal to omega n squared. Leave with 1 by LC. You will get the same results. But only thing is, it becomes handy, and otherwise you have to carry those R, L, C every time you go on writing. So we will sketch this waveform in my next lecture and further proceed. Thank you.